All right, class, so this morning we're going to work on our introduction. So we're going to discuss how we make our introduction for Hammurabi's code, and then at the end you can either copy it down or you can write your own. So remember, for an introduction, we need something that hooks them, that grabs them right away. So what we might want to do is we might want to start with Hammurabi was an ancient ruler of Babylonia. Remember, we're going to go back and correct, after we finish typing, all of those spellings. So here, he was an ancient ruler of Babylonia, and let's just get some more facts in about him. So, he ruled Babylon starting in 1792. And remember, this is that weird BCE. Now, what we also have about this is the fact that this is going to be coming from that background essay, that very first one. So we need to make sure as we type that we cite those sources. So I'm going to keep adding some facts, and then at the very end we'll add it. So what we're going to write next is that it was an unsafe time because there was wars all around. And what did he do once there were these wars all around him? Well, he conquered those nearby city-states so that they wouldn't conquer Babylon, his capital city. Remember, those city-states are those cities that ruled almost like states. They each had their own laws that they were allowed to follow, that they made up. And we'll get rid of that 0. Remember, this is going to be our first draft, so it's not perfect. That is okay. Now, what did he do next? Well, once he had his giant empire, remember, he created those steles that had all of his laws that people can read about. So that's going to be our next fact, because that's the main focus on our essay of Hammurabi's Code. Was it just? After he accomplished this task, he created 282 written laws that were put on display on stone steles. And remember, when we discussed in class, Daniel had that nice idea of saying, well, what are steles? Let's put that in there. Or stone tablets. Now, we're going to focus on where we got that information from. So remember, this information came from that background essay. So I'm going to just abbreviate it BE for background essay. And now we're going to start working on that thesis statement. Remember, we already discussed about that chicken foot that we called it, where we have our thesis statement and then those paragraphs to the side. So just a reminder, I'm going to show you what that chicken foot was for us. So remember, we had it look like this. And I'm just going to abbreviate it. And we had our thesis statement was, it was unjust, it being Hammurabi's Code, because, and then we have our next 3 paragraphs are focusing on those 3 parts of our thesis statement. So the first one was, it was unjust for the accused. It was unjust for the victims, and it was even unjust for all of society, because remember, there's some rules in there that didn't just affect those 2, but affected society and how it would function. So this is what our thesis statement was. So we're going to add that in here next. All right, so let's start with this. But the question was, because there's more than one, were the laws just? Let's restate that for other people, or to put it another way, were these laws fair. And now we're going to end with this thesis statement of ours. So I'm going to erase it so it doesn't cover up our area. Oh, and that was a question, so let's change that to a question mark. If you examine these laws, you would see that they are unjust for the accused. Remember, we're going to come back and correct at the end. The victims and society. Now, let's go back and do some corrections. The only information I got was from the background essay. So our background essay is fine because we have cited that. If I look here, I will notice that this is my thesis statement. Ooh, let's fix that because I have it as a U. And it's as a UR, and it should be a U. So here we have our thesis statement. They are unjust for the accused, victims, and society. So that's letting the readers know in our introduction how our paragraphs are going to be laid out. So paragraph 1 will be the accused, paragraph 2 will be the victims, paragraph 3 is society. All right, now it is going to be your turn. So in your notebook online, your OneNote notebook, you are going to open your Hammurabi's Code tab and type your introduction. You are allowed to copy the introduction that we just went over right here. You may borrow the introduction that we discussed in class the other day and pull the ideas from that instead if you want. It's just not displayed for you. Or if you want to give it a try, you can try writing your own introduction. Remember, this is due today for your unfinished work, so you do have to have something for when I check it. If you have any questions, you can message me on Microsoft Teams. All right, I hope you guys did well today. See you tomorrow.